This episode of the Community Workbench podcast is brought to you by yours truly, Matt Noren of Remax Bell Park. For all of your real estate needs, call me 860-428-6534. Your dreams are my job. Welcome to the Community Workbench. This is Matt Noren and Kyle Morrissey's fill-in Will Jeffs.
Oh, good morning.
We are the hosts of the number one podcast in my basement.
We're just starting. You okay?
Never. At the bench, we try to repair the sense of community. So every week we bring you small businesses, entrepreneurs, community leaders, charities, and pretty much whoever we feel like talking to. And this week we feel like talking to Steve Gagnon of Stevens Lending.
You got all that right.
Sort of. Joke that out.
That is pretty impressive.
So if anybody needs a loan officer, call 860-428-6329. Just wanted to get that out there early. Steve, welcome back. This is your
Thank you.
second time.
Mm-hmm.
And
He came back? All right. Fantastic.
dude, are you going to switch this at all?
Sorry.
Now we're on these buttons.
Okay. Camera one, camera two.
Good luck, everyone who's watching.
Camera one, camera two. It's on you now. Talk.
Yeah, it's on me.
Yeah.
So, Steve, why don't you give us a little recap about how you kind of got into being a loan officer and all of that?
Okay, well, a few more years than I care to admit ago, I was in the car business. My family owned a car dealership, and in the midst of all of that, I got a phone call from a fairly large national mortgage company and asked me to become a part of a branch in Hartford and to run the branch and try to make things better is what I was told. So back in around 2000 thereabouts, I went to Hartford and learned how to become a loan originator and how to manage loan originators and what the business was all about, and I really liked it. So
Nice.
I stuck with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when did you start Stevens Lending?
That was Stevens Lending's about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Right here in Brooklyn, Connecticut,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yeah. My youngest son was a ball player, and at some point was missing things, and I had enough. So I had twins that were in high school playing soccer. A girl and a boy both playing soccer all the time. They were the stars of their team. And my youngest son was a baseball player who was, near and dear to my heart because I played ball. So.
Yeah, because baseball's a real sport, unlike soccer.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Ooh.
No. There'll be no camera three today. It's going to be camera one and two only. My mother always told me I had a face for radio, so here I am. Thanks, Mom. So yes, soccer's not a real sport. Thanks,
There it
Mom.
is.
Baseball all the way.
My son lives nearby here. If he's listening right now, he may just be knocking on the door in a second. But yeah, so I came back and I opened my own place, and I've been here ever since.
Nice. How many loan officers do you have working for you right now?
Right now, 5 and soon to be 6. I had a gentleman from Florida call, I don't know, about a week and a half ago, and wants to come up. He's moving to Rhode Island. And I told you this before, but I encourage loan originators to come join us who speak languages.
Did he come up for a loan?
No.
Is that what happened?
No. He
It's
called.
like, while you're here, you look cute.
No.
So fill out this
Believe it or
application.
not, Edwin, that one of my loan originators that works in Rhode Island also speaks Spanish. Somehow or another, helped this guy out somewhere doing. I don't know if he was stuck in his car or what the hell happened, but he was in Rhode Island and he helped this guy out and he gave him his card, and that was 2 years ago. And out of the clear blue, the guy called him and said, "Hey, I've been a loan originator for 25 years in Florida, and I'm originally from Rhode Island. And I'm moving back there right now. And, I looked you guys up. You look like a fairly decent place." And he speaks Spanish as his first language, and he speaks some Portuguese, which in the Fall River, New Bedford area is a very important thing. So I'm meeting with him next week, and he'll be number 6.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool.
How many states do you do business in?
Right now, 4. Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Florida.
Florida.
Yep.
And the Florida thing's relatively new.
Well, Florida, I've had a couple of years.
A couple of years now.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, And Florida was a little tricky only because in order to get all the advantages of the Florida, for example, the down payment assistance programs, that type of thing, you have to have a Florida resident loan originator. And up until, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I didn't have one. Well, I do now.
Nice.
So I've got that, and she's down there, and her and her husband just bought a home in Florida, and she is hooking us up with the builder, and they're one of the national builders, and the national builders have their own, originators, but it's like anything else, like dealing with a bank. If you're not a 720 score, they really don't want to talk to you. So she's trying to hook us up with the rest.
Yeah.
And which is a large volume of people. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, all things are looking great.
Nice. Now you have like processors that work for you as well, right?
Yes.
So how many processors and
Well, that's
tell us a little bit about like how that all works. Like,
okay. Well, the processing end of it is what, in my mind, is what a good originating company does. Unfortunately, most of the companies that you deal with have 6, 7, 8 originators and the processor who handles.
one processor that handles all of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, well, let me back up a little bit. One of the things that I'm going to all the realtors with right now is this.
Yep.
And this took me 5 years to put together. What it basically says is that
That's nice. That's nice.
Stevens Lending is the fastest mortgage closer in the country
The fastest.
for United Wholesale Mortgage.
Yeah.
United Wholesale Mortgage is the largest lender in the country. They have 38,000 loan originators on their books, and they do between 5,000 and 6,000 loans a day.
And you're outpacing them.
All of them.
That's awesome.
Yep. And that's what took me 5 years to put together. And that was mostly to find the correct processors.
Yeah.
So your question is, how many processors do I have? Well, in total, there's 6.
Wow.
My question is, what the hell's a processor?
Okay. Processors take all your documents.
let's start from the beginning. So
All right, that's okay.
so Matt's an A-OK real estate agent.
Thank
world's,
you.
World's
Thank you,
most
Will.
world's most. I'm gonna switch the cameras on this because I'm gonna plug Matt here. World's most okayest real estate agent. Yeah, he does okay at best. He's not the fastest real estate agent. He's got no awards to show for that. He's not gonna hold up this beautiful teardrop award saying I'm the world's fastest closer. But
Is it a teardrop or a flame?
it's whatever you
feel
want
like
it
he
to
liked
be.
it.
Honestly, I don't know what it is. But it's-
But he understands the jargon. I had a loan. I bought a house 20 years ago, a couple days ago, believe it or not. And I had an world's okayest lender, who is the fastest lender. Apparently, this side of the Mississippi,
no, don't hold me in place.
who did a fine job getting me a loan. But I didn't understand the process then, and I absolutely do not understand the process
right.
now. So, I'm a 5-year-old. Hit me with it, Steve.
Okay.
Hit me
well,
with it.
all right. Let's back up. So, if somebody wants a loan and they come to us, the first thing we do is we sit down. We go over all the options. We talk about what loans are available to them. This isn't a one-size-fits-all type of thing. There are all kinds of government programs. There's conventional programs. There's USDA. There's all kinds of stuff, all of which I can get into. It would take more time than we have now. But basically what it boils down to is that everyone has a loan that fits their needs. And that's where you have to start. People, they come to me and, we talk about those things, and then I get the invariable question, what's the rates? And that's really not a question that makes any sense at all, even though people, they zero in on that right off the bat. And there's a reason, is because every single program has different rates. Every single customer, has different parts of their profile that would determine what the rate would be. So, what is their debt ratio? What is their FICO scores on the credit? How much are they borrowing? Are they doing a 95% loan, a 75% loan, a 70% loan? And I have 7 different lenders, and every day I get 3 rate changes or so from each one of them. So I get 21 rate changes a day from 7 different lenders for 5 to 10 different programs for an infinite number of different types of customer profiles.
Right.
So what's my rate? Okay. All right. So that question is usually answered by right now in this market between 6.5 and 7.5.
Is that good?
Of course, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so a lot of people remember the COVID rates,
Yeah.
essentially the 2, and that's kind of like a one in a lifetime scenario.
Yeah, it's free
where
money.
the 6 to 7 is kind of like the historic medium, right? So we're kind of like that's where you can have a balanced market where
Yeah.
you have a lot more deals where the buyer and seller have a better negotiation, and a real give and take for more fair deals in
Right.
a way, and you have buyers that'll actually do inspections, which is kind of the biggest thing when you're
Or
buying
not.
a house, as far as knowing what you're trying to know what you're buying at least, and getting
Plus,
it
you know,
inspected.
the market's
So,
swinging now. You know, all this, $50,000, $60,000 over offers are starting to disappear. We're seeing that in our area, we're fortunate the market hasn't backed up that much. But, the typical stuff, we call them the sand states. The sand states always crash first. And those are Florida, California, Arizona, Nevada. And true to form, they're terrible right now.
as far as home values,
Anything. Home value, like Florida market is just awful right now.
Buying, selling.
Well, yeah, and values. Values are
are plummeting.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah. And I mean, the Florida right now, for example, in the neighborhood that my new loan originator and her husband bought a house, it's so overbuilt. I mean, they bought one, but there's probably another 50 or 60 homes that are just empty.
Oh wow.
And a lot of the largest builders right now have just shut off Florida. They're just not going to build anymore because they can't sell what they've got. So we have that problem. The other problem is the condo problem in Florida. There are condos right now in Miami area, Miami Beach in particular, you can buy for 10 grand. And the reason you can buy them for 10 grand is because the condo association fees are 100,000 a year.
No kidding.
Just enough.
No
Just enough.
kidding.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because that condo that crashed and fell apart 4 or 5 years ago killed all those people. Now every one of these places has to have these mechanical engineers come in, do a survey. Anything they find has to be repaired. This can run into millions of dollars. So who bears the brunt of that? The owners with condo collection fees that are just going crazy.
Through the roof. Yeah.
They can't get insurance because of the weather. They have, so anyway, so that's happening. But I digress. to get back to your question.
So if I was one of Matt's 6 viewers and I needed a mortgage, a loan, I was looking to buy a house or a condo in Florida for some ungodly reason. Maybe I'm 90 and I wanted to go somewhere to die, and I wanted to go down to Florida.
Yeah.
What's my process? So you talk about rates. So everybody worries about the rates.
We come in and talk.
Yeah.
What program fits you? Once we get to that point, there's some basic documents that you need from almost any loan. We give them that page. They get them together and they bring them in. And when they bring them in, we give them to our processors. And what I've done is I learned my lesson from some of the largest and most successful lenders in the country. Right now, everybody else takes the entire bundle, works on the entire thing for each one of the loans that they have in the system, and it slows everything down. So my goal was to get everything down to a point where I can close every loan in less than 2 weeks.
That's why you got an award.
Which we've done. It took me 5 years to do it. But what we did is we broke everything out. So right now we have a couple of processors in the office. We have Todd, who's been with me forever. And we have Tammy, who's just come on board as a new originator, and she's interested in doing some of that also. But what we do there is we take all your documents, we stack them, we put them together the way that the other processors who are going to submit the loan want to see that thing. So it's not hodgepodge. It's everything's in line, ready to go. So when we take these things in, and Matt sends us a purchase and sale agreement, that file is already done and ready. He gives me the purchase and sale agreement. Todd stacks it, sends it to our other folks, Leanne and Katie and Sarah. And they separate it. And
Yeah, I think processor is a great word because you have this process now, and it's down to a science. It's
Yeah.
down to an art
Right.
now. And
Exactly.
you have it set up so that you can have these taken care of quickly, efficiently.
yeah, well, right now we're telling people that if that when you send in a purchase and sale agreement, we call them approval conditions. Realtors call it commitments. We'll have your commitment in 48 hours. Most contracts we see, we'd like the commitment in 3 weeks and the closing in 4 weeks. No, we have the commitment in 48 hours and we're done. Right now, our average term is 13.8 days.
Wow.
That is fantastic.
Yep.
What would you say the average for? I'm going to say just randomly
Industry
somebody.
average?
Yeah, industry. Yeah, thank you.
35 to 60 days.
Wow, for somebody
Depending on-
buying a house, that sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Can you hear me on my phone? So sorry, somebody's running the water outside. That's making a loud noise. Oh, there it goes.
There you go.
Hopefully she's done. We'll see.
It's okay.
I made sure to switch the camera to you. while you're on
I
your
appreciate
phone
that. I
during a
appreciate that.
podcast. So unprofessional.
We're casual here. Well, we
Yes.
want the noise to go away. I'm going to try and make the noise go away.
I like the noise. I thought it was soothing.
So, what was the industry average as far as?
Oh, anywhere from 35 to 45 days.
Yeah.
You can, and the thing of it is, the place you want to go to find out who to use. You don't go to the realtors. You don't go to the loan origination companies. You go to the people at the attorney's offices, because they're the ones who have to suffer with the fact that they have a closing in 10 minutes and don't have their documents yet because the customer isn't really clear to close yet. And you have.
I actually went to the community workbench, and they told me to go to Stephen Gagnon, and that's who I went to, and it was fantastic. On apparently his
and guess
first
what?
showing, yeah,
Perfect.
it was fantastic.
There
It
you
actually, it was funny. Steve actually sent me to the attorney, who I actually still use. That
you go.
attorney, the attorney was actually.
I would assume
fantastic.
you need an attorney a lot.
Different kind of attorney, but it turns out he only does real estate. He doesn't do personal law. Who would have thought, Your Honor? But I do still use that attorney to this day. He now owns my house actually, which is kind of funny in itself.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah, so that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Our mission, our goal, what we have that I tell everybody, and they have it in their emails and on their desktops, is that we want our realtor partners to know that they're clear to close weeks before the closing and move on to the next deal.
Yeah.
They don't have to think about it. They don't have to battle. They don't have to, how many times do you get phone calls, from your loan originator, and the realtor has to go and get documents because they asked you to, because they can't get them. Well, no. This is things that should be done early on. Know what you're doing, get what you need, and, all the rest of it falls into place. For example, appraisals. Every realtor, that's the number one thing in their book. When is the appraisal? When are you going to order the appraisal? And not you. Because
not
you
Matt.
know that you're going to get it. But I hear that constantly. And the thing of it is what we've done is we've set up a thing where the appraisers get 100% of the money that's charged to the customer. There's no split with appraisal management companies.
Okay.
So what happens there is the appraiser has a choice. Do I do the appraiser where I'm going to get $500, or do I do the appraiser where I'm going to get $300 and the appraisal management company gets $2 of it? Well, guess what? They're going to do my appraisal first. And all our appraisals come in within 7 days.
In that scenario, how does the appraisal management company get paid?
They don't. We do them directly through the lender.
Is that legal?
Sure.
I thought you had to have a appraisal management company.
Nope.
Huh?
It's
Nope.
not.
What the lenders do is they set up their own.
Appraisal management company?
Yeah.
Oh, so you have like a third party subcontractor?
Well, like
or something like that?
no. Like for example, UWM.
Yeah.
They have a thing called
Oh,
appraisal
that
direct.
lender. Okay.
For example.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the only ones. There's a couple
Right,
that
right,
do it.
right.
And it's like anything else. When I first got around, I wanted to close things quickly, sense of urgency. So you call up the attorneys. How soon do you get titles to me? Well, we get them in a week or so. No, next. the first guy that told me I get them in 2 days or less, that's the guy I deal with. You know,
Do you have a set of attorneys you use normally, or do you do this process
do.
every time?
I do, but you know there are times when the customer says, "Well, I like to use my attorney,"
Their attorney, yeah.
Yeah.
and
This guy got me out of a speeding ticket. Let's
yeah,
get him.
yeah,
Let's get him a deal. I like it.
exactly. But you know, unfortunately, it's the same thing nearly every time. You know, I order the appraisal, I send them what they want. Like for example, today I have a loan that's closing in August 12th, I think it is, and we're already done. But what happens? Their attorney sent me an email today. Well, we should have the title in for you the end of next week. Well, that's 14 days from now. We're already done. What do you know, this is what I try to avoid. You know, and the reason they're doing that is because they looked at the closing date on the purchase and sale agreement and says, we don't have to do anything yet.
Yep.
No.
I always make mine close, especially when you're the lender.
Yeah.
and I get the question all the time from other realtors, you know, oh, can you close that? Can we really even close a VA loan that quickly? And I said, yep. And like, well, how do you know? And I said, well, I put my name on it. If Steven's Lending's putting their name on it, I put my name on it. And if he says it can be done, it gets done. So,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, I've been through that in the last week. I've had a pretty aggressive buyer, and you know you put in offers and stuff, and some of them still don't believe it. You know that it can be closed
Well,
that fast. And
we
then
get-
I say, well, you should look up the website where it says he's the fastest closer in the nation. So,
Yeah.
This side of the Mississippi.
And the thing of it is that so many realtors are so used to battling with their loan originators to get things done, but they've used the same one for 30 years that they don't believe a word you say. You know, well, to their detriment. You know, to me, if a realtor's going to go out there and they're going to put an offer in, and they can say on their offer, by the way, I'll get this done in 2 weeks. Wow, now that's a whole different ballgame. You know,
Right.
they may not get it in the end, but they're sure as hell going to get it looked at. You know?
Right.
So, you know, why not use somebody that's going to close in 2 weeks for sure, and you know, go out there with a little stronger offer?
right.
Why not?
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the products that because you kind of like one-stop shop for pretty much any kind of loan you can get.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's
Make
some-
sure you explain some of those products.
No, I'm not going. Yeah, no, okay. So, well, for example, government loans. There's FHA, which is the tried and true loan. Been around for 60, 70 years now.
For first-time homeowners. Right.
Well, yeah,
Thank
or
you.
for anybody really. FHA does. The first-time home buyer thing is really kind of a misnomer now. Only because a lot of these first-time home buyer loans are available to most anyone.
But there's a certain criteria that kind of profiles the first-time homeowner, right? Because they have to make under a certain
Usually
amount.
income,
have
yeah.
To have an
You're not allowed to use the word profiled.
Oh no,
Change it up.
he
Change-
started it.
Yeah,
he
I'm
said it
sorry.
first.
All right. trying to get with the times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it is. I mean, a lot of these first-time home buyer programs are definitely income-driven, and you can go to any different one of the areas in the state, or Rhode Island, or any one of the states we're in, and these programs have to be 80% of the common income for the area, and so we have to look at that first. And unfortunately now what's happening is a lot of the first-time homebuyer programs are getting more and more and more difficult, because what's happened is the income criteria has always been fine up until about a year and a half ago. Now,
What's changed?
the price of the homes. So what's happening is
Oh, yeah.
your income criteria will only allow you to buy so much house, but the house is now, instead of 250,000
Back
or
to 500,000.
350,000 or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's happened? Some of the best programs, USDA, my favorite program. I probably did more USDA loans than anybody. I used to have, believe it or not, UWM, their reps call me and ask questions on how to do the USDA loans, because they don't do that many. Best program ever. That one is really starting to get squeezed because of the price of homes, because their debt ratios are lower than any of the other programs. So how the hell do you buy a house that's 350 to 400,000 when your income is only so much, and your debt ratio has to be low because of the program parameters, and it's really kind of squeezed that one out. It's unfortunate because it's the best loan on the market.
Yeah. Well, you marry for money. I mean, that's the easy solution.
Well, then
That's-
you go into
That's what you do. You just marry for money.
yeah, and then there's VA, of course. We do a ton of those. We're doing 3 of them right now. VA loans are again a terrific product for the veterans. There's certain criteria you have to be careful of with those. I mean, I get a lot of vets come in, they want to use their VA loan, which is great, but they have a fiance or a girlfriend they want to put on the loan with them. Nope. VA, you have to be married or you're not doing it.
Or you're not putting them on the loan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the income becomes a problem, but VA, it's 100% loan, and the last 2 or 3, believe it or not, have been where the VA, the vet has had some injury or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, they have this thing where now they don't have to pay the guarantee fee. All loans in the government sector have guarantee fees.
Is that a percentage?
Yeah, it's like USDA, FHA is like 0.80 of the loan amount. And again, USDA, because it's such a great product, was 0.45. So it's almost half
Half
the
that,
FHA. VA is expensive.
Is it?
VA is like 1.25%.
Wow.
So you get a $300,000 or $400,000 loan, you can get a $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 guarantee fee. Now it doesn't come out of their pocket. None of these things come out of the pocket. They just, whatever the deal ends up being, loan amount. If it's a $12,000 guarantee fee and a VA loan, they just add it to the loan amount.
Okay.
But it's still,
But then they're paying a
increases.
percentage on that too. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that a second loan from what I recall? I think I had to take out a secondary loan, a loan for the down payment.
Oh, down payment
Yeah.
assistance program.
Is that a little different?
Yeah, there are, and again, those are getting like hen's teeth. Almost no one wants to do those anymore. There's CHAFA in the state of Connecticut that has the down payment assistance program. I don't even have a lender that will deal with them anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're just awful to deal with. And if you wanted a CHAFA loan for the down payment assistance program, you're gonna be 60 days because they are so far behind.
Yeah.
And they're really the only place to go to right now.
But like you said, the price of the houses are so much. I mean, how could anybody afford that?
Well,
That and when you're in a multiple offer
Yeah.
situation, they see the CHAFA and they usually
go away.
go to a different kind, which is unfortunate, but also just
Yeah.
kind of how the times are. It's
It's
tough.
It's still a
But,
seller's market, but that'll change, and then
Agreed. Yeah.
There's a pendulum effect
yep.
for sure.
oh yeah, yep.
Do you have a theory or a what do you
prediction?
Yeah, prediction. Thank you. Let's give it a little Simpsons prediction here.
On the-
What are we looking at for the market? When do we think things are going to turn around? So
I like to
when
call it a correction.
Yeah. When
A
can
lot of
I
people
sell my
ask,
house,
like
Steven?
a crash.
Yeah, I can
Correction?
find a good
You can
real
sell your
estate
house
agent.
now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. When's a good time?
Well, it depends on who you read, and I have my own thoughts as
God, give me
Matt
your thoughts.
knows. He and I
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
He
These
talk
are the-
about these things a lot.
These are the thoughts of Stephen Lending. These do not. These are not the thoughts of the community workbench and or
Exactly.
Kyle Morrissey and or Matt Noren.
Well, let's talk about my industry, and that's always rates. People think that rates will come back down eventually. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
See, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Thank you, Matt.
And there's a lot of reasons for that.
And even if they came down, they're not going as low as 2.
Yeah,
No chance.
but
Okay.
I've learned in this economy once we learn that people will pay, they're
Yeah.
gonna pay.
Well, to me, if we see 4 in the next 2 decades, that would be a miracle.
I don't see it.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I think the lowest you're ever going to see again, maybe 5.5.
Okay.
Yeah. And these are
And-
just predictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, not no.
Well, the
not community
market's
workbench.
changed too, and the normal predictors for rate changes are no longer there. And there's a lot. I mean, it gets complicated, but there's a lot of reasons for it. The American dollar and all of the the treasuries the 2, 5, 10, 30-year Treasury notes have always been the gold standard across the world. So everybody hedged all their bets by buying American Treasuries. And, the dollar was always propped up as the gold standard. So, the dollar's value has always been great. Well, it's not now. The dollar value has gone down considerably. And in the last few months, the world has starting to turn away from the American Treasury bonds. So what happens there is that the cycle that normally happened has been broken. So the cyclical thing is just everybody that you talk to in the industry, including the owner of UWM, expected rates to come crashing down 18 months ago. And they were online. Everybody was online, and I didn't see it. And I
I don't
told all
remember
my customers that.
I don't remember seeing any predictions like that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's wild.
everybody in the industry was waiting for this giant refi boom to come along, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think rates may back up a little. Like I say, even at this, I think rates may come back into the low sixes. But even the 5.5 thing, I think we're a little far off. There's too much uncertainty out right. Anything that has to do with an economic market, if there's uncertainty,
They keep it up.
it's exactly you have to be careful. So that's what's happening now. But historically speaking, 6.5, 7.5% rates,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with those.
Yeah, it usually creates a balanced market where in this particular time we have a lot of people that won't sell because their rate that they got during COVID was so low. So
Exactly.
now we have less inventory to sell,
Yep.
which creates the supply and demand, and that's why the home prices are still high. We've kind of plateaued in the last 3 or 4 years as far as the height of the prices, which is then creates that that disparity between the low income products
Yeah.
and
100%.
the
And-
getting a decent house for 300,000 is tough in most areas.
We're in an unusual market here. I mean, I
Yeah.
talk to people all across the country, and all of their markets slipping, and they're slipping pretty substantially. And we're seeing people that are price changes down 30,000, down 40,000, down 50,000, everywhere except around here.
That is weird. I will say that just my personal experience.
Yeah, you would
having
know. You would know.
having a banner year,
Yeah.
and I just knock on wood. I'm okay with it. It's just
Yeah.
odd to me that it's been great. And
Yeah.
I'm
it's
happy
been
for you.
one thing that's been nice is that when you have a buyer, you can counsel them to get inspections again. That was like
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was so hard, and I've talked to so many inspectors. So like, yeah, we're doing a lot of post closing inspections. People are inspecting after they buy the house just to see what they bought. And
Getting
there's
shocked.
been some horror stories, and that is just, to me, that's the worst. It's one thing to pay a little bit more or a higher rate. Eventually, the real estate industry, your house is an asset. It becomes worth
Right.
more as the longer you keep it. So even if you paid a little too much, eventually, if you
Right.
stay there long enough, the equity or the value will gain.
Would match it. So I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could do you could purchase a home without an inspection.
Yeah, that's total in Connecticut anyway. That's a preference of the buyer. You can waive all
No kidding.
inspections, and that's what was happening a lot in COVID.
And they would allow a loan. The bank would
Yeah, the bank only needs an appraisal. So that's not the comprehensive, like turning the boiler. Well, they do turn the heat on for some of the products, but most of them, the banks just require, okay, are we lending money that we could get back if we have to sell it? Is basically their fail safe.
correct.
And but as a buyer, you want to inspect everything you can. Is kind of my
Correct, yeah.
opinion. Like, know what you're buying.
Makes
And,
sense.
of course, during COVID, we also had plenty of the baby boomer generation who had cash and they had knowledge of housing, so they would be a cash with no contingencies. No,
I hate those people. Wait a minute, I am one. That's
Son of a gun. Don't worry, you guys are all going to Florida. And don't worry about it.
well, that actually made ranches or one floor living substantially more than a Cape or a Colonial, which was also another little aspect to it. You know, we've seen some very small housing go for very big prices because it's just that small ranch that's easy to maintain, and they come in and they'll put 20,000-30,000 over asking, cash, no contingencies, close in 2 weeks.
See you later. No, exactly.
So-
But you know what? You know what we do is we get people back on the back end of that type of thing.
Right, they go and refinance or take money,
Yeah.
equity loans,
Yeah,
home
and
equity loans out.
It's a product called delayed financing. So I mean, normally on a cash out loan, you have to have seasoning. You have to have whatever the hell it is. You know,
I do
6
love
months,
seasoning.
12. Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Garlic, onion.
There you go.
Talk to me, Goose. Oh, yeah. Making me hungry.
Nice,
Yeah. You got me on seat. Hold on a second. I'm going to need a minute.
But you know, with a delayed financing deal, you can just close your house and then the week after, go ahead. I mean, you have up to 6 months in order to do a delayed financing. So if you want to go out and buy a house cash and then recover your money, no
Oh
problem.
wow!
What about the flippers? Are they doing all right, like construction?
I have not. So I've looked at it from an investment standpoint and as a carpenter or ex-carpenter, home builder, and thought about like to go and buy X house that's dilapidated and put X amount of money in, and then when you resell it, like I feel like that margin has been very low for the past half a decade anyway. And it's been so competitive. There's so many people doing it because they watched it on TV or whatever. And
what's happened to the market for multifamilies? It's crazy.
then building products are so expensive.
Well, especially now.
Yeah.
Another 35% tariff on Canada. Where most of our lumber comes from. That just,
That's just for hockey sticks, though. Don't worry about that.
yeah.
We're okay.
Here we
We're
go.
doing okay.
Yeah, it's getting, but look, I just did a loan in the Wallingford area where the appraisal on a 2-family house, that it's okay, nothing spectacular. It's good, clean house, $610,000.
Shoosh. That's all right. The rent's going to be $3,000 a month. Don't worry about it.
That's the other
Well,
problem.
then you get the people that are homeowner occupied and they just have a certain offset for their bills that they're expecting. So they're not even looking at it as an investment. They're just like, oh, we get to live here and the tenant will
Pay the bills. Yeah.
will pitch in so much for the bills so they're outbidding an investor that's going to be more conservative and concerned about a profit margin. So that a lot of the investors are like, call me when the market turns.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Away
They do
from
their
that.
cap rates and they don't make sense anymore.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
But
yeah.
So we know why we should see Steven, because he is a fantastic lender, right? He's explained a great deal. I'll tell you what, I forgot what he told us already, but I do know.
You can rewatch this
Yes,
on
I
Facebook,
do
YouTube, and Spotify.
That is fantastic. And I know you're going to be watching for me, but listen to what he has to say. I'm sure it's a plethora of information. But I will say my personal experience with Steven lending was phenomenal. And it wasn't just, going in and talking to Steve about what I was looking for as far as what kind of loan do I need, what should I do, where do I go. It was my first time buying a home, my wife and I, and she was nagging me and oh god, like women, oh my god.
Matt, do you have a cot down here somewhere?
The good news is she watches the podcast like everybody else. Don't worry about it. I'm not scared. So, but Steve did just a phenomenal job explaining everything to us, the process, like he did tonight, as far as what we needed to do, where we needed to go, what the best rate was, not even the rate, where we needed, what the best loan for us was.
Right.
And then we got into talking about who Steve was, and that was probably the best experience I had. Who he was. So I'd love to talk about Steve and just in general, and just talk about him. And I learned tonight. This blew my mind. Steve has 11 grandkids, and he remembers their names. That in itself is just that boggles my mind. Just in general,
Boggles my
but
mind.
yeah. But I did a little research on Steve. I did a little went back and you worked at Markley Motors.
Yeah, actually,
that's way back
my
when.
family
right there.
owned it. Believe it or not.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I cheated. I got in there and just. Yeah, but
My
18
family bought a
years.
car from there.
Yeah.
When I was a
My
kid,
family
I
bought a
remember
car from that also. I
little
think they got
blue
yeah.
something
I
or
think
other
they got
that we
screwed
had.
pretty well. So, whatever. Yeah, I'm just saying. So, tell us a little bit about the car dealership business, and because that
okay.
got you started, right? That you worked there and
Yeah.
you were a manager there, and
Yeah,
that got you into the business. And
Well, I did everything at one time or another. Sold cars, managed the sales, managed the repair shop, everything.
do you
general
find that a little
manager.
different than what you're doing now as far as
Yeah.
selling and
Well, the thing of it was there is that gives you a I don't know, kind of like a learning experience on how to deal with customers.
deal with people in general?
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, I hate people.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I love them.
Yeah, God, I hate people.
People,
I don't understand people like you. I don't like people.
honestly, all the stuff that I've learned over the years in both businesses, it boils down to some pretty simple things. People just want to be treated well.
Yeah.
They don't want to be sold. Mm-hmm. They just want to give them the information they ask and treat them like a human being. Treat them like they're your family. How would you treat your son or your daughter? And
Well, that
that's
doesn't
what I
work
try
for
to
me,
do.
by the way. I don't like my kids, so
there it is.
treat them better than your son and daughter.
But I mean, that's really what it's all about. The rate thing, and I tell this in sales meetings all the time. And I used to run the sales meetings in Hartford for 100 different loan originators, and it was always the question from the group, the rate question.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, look, I've probably done 500 loans here. I've never discussed rate with a customer once. And he's like, looking at me like, what are you talking about? How can you? I said, well, it's easy. You look at somebody and say, well, is rate important to you? And you say, yeah, okay, well, let's talk about that last. Because that's the last thing I want you to remember before you leave. And then you go on and you teach them a little bit and you become friendly with them and you talk to them and you become, somebody that will trust you. And it's not hard to get somebody to trust you. Just don't be an a-hole.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
I mean, I hate to say
Will
it.
still struggles with that.
And then they sell you a house you can't afford,
Yeah.
and you're living on the streets.
And sometimes you tell them that, this particular loan, you can't afford this. Let's look at a different product because I want you back. I don't want you to go out there and live for your house because, you're in a product that's way too expensive for you. So, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Or find somebody that makes more money. I mean,
Right.
that's
And
a
you know
great
what happens?
option.
You know what the rate thing is I tell people always the same thing. Look, you're going to get the best rate from me that you qualify for. And well, what do you mean? I said, well, and we already talked about this at the beginning, all those different variables. I said, well, what's going to happen at the end is I'm going to take the rate sheet and clip it. So there's going to be like 20 different rates. And I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to tell me which one you want. I'm not going to tell you. Because the way these things work is, like, for example, if today's median rate is, say, it's 7. Well, they could take an 8% rate and get, say, $8,000 towards closing costs. You get a credit for a higher rate. Or you could go to 6 and have to pay $5,000 to get 6. But you can buy it down, it's called. But that's not my decision. That's your money. That's your decision. I'm gonna teach you about how the rate sheet works and what it's about and what it tells you, but I'm gonna send it to you. We're gonna talk about it, and then you're gonna tell me. And I've had all kinds of different answers, stuff I never expected.
Yeah.
And I had one guy that is an investor who bought a house, and I did a bank statement loan for him, and those rates are through. I mean, you think bank statement loans are 8.5%, 9%, 10%. So I sent him the rate sheet. He calls me back. He says, okay. He said, I'll take the 7. I said, the 7? He goes, yeah, I'll pay you the 15 grand for the 7. I said, Okay. Didn't expect to hear that, but that's okay.
You become a game show host.
Yeah, but the point is everybody's different. Everybody's situation's different. Everybody thinks differently, and everybody's pocketbook is different. So when it comes to the rate thing, it's easy.
So,
Here
so
they are.
Let me ask you this: give us some scenarios here. Give me a good, bad, and ugly, because I'm curious. You've dealt with a lot of people over the years,
Oh, well.
and the couple of days you've been doing this, because you're what, 23, 24. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Give us some.
Dog's that
Give us a
old.
story. I'd love to hear something when it comes to Stevens Lending, and just boggles your mind, just baffled you.
Oh, I mean, honestly, it's probably early on in the before '08 when everything was crazy. And, I don't know if you're probably not old enough to remember all this. But people that had homes back then were getting probably 10 or 15 calls a day from people trying to sell them a loan. It was out of control. It was crazy. And they were all refinances and all this stuff. And that's what basically we did in Hartford. We did refinances for people. And I recall one gentleman who probably had somewhere around $125,000 to $30,000 on credit cards. So between his mortgage, let's say his mortgage was $1,500 at the time, and his credit card bills were another $1,500. So he's spending $3,500 a month on all his bills. And we brought him in, and we did a loan, and his kids, the whole family was there, and I brought his entire debt down to about, I forget what. Let's say it was $2,000. So he took $1,000 a month off.
Sounds
his
great.
debt.
Yeah.
All his bills are paid off. Off you go. And
Because he had a loan to pay off
we got
everything,
a loan. We got a loan, a cash out loan.
Right.
We paid off all of the credit cards.
and then his payment was that much lower.
Yeah, $1,000 a month lower. And his
Well, that
kid-
was spread over 30 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing is, the average loan people keep for, I think, it's 6.5 years. So it never gets there.
Right.
Too many times people say, well, they 360 and multiply it times that. It never comes close to that.
I do that a lot.
Yeah. but anyway, so what happened was the guy comes walking in at the end. His kids are sitting there waiting for him because, they're all excited that, dad doesn't have this giant bill anymore.
Yeah.
Comes in and says, I'm not doing that. I said, okay. And he gave me some obscure reason. It didn't make any, but I actually wrote up a document that says that he had the opportunity to lose, take $1,000 off his monthly bills. And
That's crazy.
I made him sign it because at some point I didn't want him coming back and saying, hey, what the hell is
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
You could have done this for me. Well, I did do that for you.
That is pretty crazy.
Oh, that's,
Did he give a reason why?
no.
No.
Well, another time, there was a Vietnamese community in West Hartford, and on my team when I was there, I had 3 different Vietnamese people working for me, and they spoke all the dialects, all 3 of them. So one of them comes to me one day and says, "I got a loan for you, but we got to go down to the Vietnamese area and talk to the people doing this." I said, "Okay." So I went down there with her, and we sat in a room, and there were 50 Vietnamese people in there, all the elders, all the family members, all the kids, and they made me sit on the floor cross-legged. And I'm telling you what,
Yeah.
I thought I was paralyzed.
Yeah,
at the
you
end
were
of this
stuck.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how they did things.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really interesting.
Did you sell them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know what?
Dedicated.
I didn't. You know why I sold them? Is because I was sitting there with somebody who spoke the language.
Correct.
Even at that, I didn't know at the time when I hired these people that there was a North Vietnamese dialect, a Central Highlands dialect,
yeah.
and a South Vietnamese dialect. And I
that's
had one of each.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it was really interesting. I love that job because of that. It was like the United Nations walking into my team.
That was down in Hartford.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's amazing the different people you get to meet.
Oh, it's the best.
In what we do.
Yep.
And yeah, that's really cool. And then you are making their dreams come true. It's like
Sure.
it's one of those things. Is like home ownership is
Yep.
is such a big deal to
Yeah.
about
Have you ever
everybody.
run into a Laotian bank?
A bank.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
So,
Back in this had to be the 80s or 90s. you would have 3 or 4 Laotian families buying one 3 or 4 family house, and they would all live there. And they would choose one of the older people in the house to be the banker. And I ran into this too. And what happens is everybody in that house worked, and that paycheck came in, and they had to give it to the banker.
Oh, interesting.
Every single one of them. So there was like 20 paychecks all going into the one person who handled the money, and you would get $200 for the week or $100
Their
for the week.
allowance.
It's their allowance.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to buy a car or anything of that nature, you had to go to the banker
Wow.
and the other people, and they had to discuss it. Can you afford this? And they were, you know what? It was great.
That's very interesting.
It was great because I would go in there like for cars at the time. That's what it was for, and they would always have $5,000 to put down because the banker gave that to them because that was in the bank.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, more people should have handled their money that way.
That's
It
very.
was
I do.
real
I mean, we.
interesting.
You know, I walk it. I hand it to my wife. Does that count? Right?
The banker.
There you go. Like,
Yeah.
dear, could I have $20 for a McChicken
I was going to
and
say, you're not
some
getting
French
any
fries?
of that back. But anyway, that's just some of the stories. There's been all
No,
kinds
those are
of
great
Yeah.
stories. Thank you.
It's really cool, like the people that you meet, especially early on in their life, where like for me, I get them an apartment, you know what I mean, and then I refer them to you. That's one thing I try to instill in everybody. You know, we're here, realtor, lender. We're here for you long before you need us, and that
Yep.
like so, you have a tenant that may not be as great with their money as they should be. I say call Steve, have them figure out your budget, and then we can get them on track to paying down
Right.
certain loans to get your credit back up and
Yeah.
running. And
We
then
get a
they're-
lot of those. So
Yeah.
people are just kind of slipped off the edge in credit.
Yeah.
Not terrible a lot of times.
Right.
They don't understand what affects their credit as much as they should.
Right. And then, you get them through that educational part. And
Yep.
then, a year or two down the road, they're calling you for their first home.
Sure.
And then a year or two later, they're calling you for their second home. It's really a cool process. And, it's like that long-term people watching type of situation. And,
Too many people get referred to people like me. And, I have several right now, and they say, well, I can't get a mortgage. My credit score is 560. I said, okay, let's do this. I said, put an application anyway. Let's pull your credit. You come in. We'll sit down. I'll tell you how to fix it.
Right.
It's not as difficult as you think most of the time.
Right.
And it's not always pay your bills. I mean, that's obviously the number one. But there are so many other things that are easily fixed. And sometimes you can get 30, 40 points in 30, 60 days just by doing a few little odds and ends.
Yeah, we've had a few that were, I'll be buying with you in a year. Oh, we'll go talk to Steve, and they'll turn around and they had the point. They were ready, and they were like shocked and loved it. And
Yeah. Well, the other problem that
Get
you
'em in.
have out there now is there's these credit companies. Like I don't know, people go online now and they look up their credit, and they're all not right. None of them.
yeah,
None of them.
they're inaccurate,
They're
is what you're saying.
totally inaccurate, and they're
Okay.
usually way low.
Is there a specific one that you would recommend, like a Credit Karma or something along
Credit
those
Karma's
lines?
terrible.
Okay.
That might be the number one worst one.
Son, hold on, I gotta delete this app real quick.
Yeah,
Hold on.
It's kind of like the Zestimate.
Yeah.
It's my Timu of credit scores.
I just had one a week or two ago. I can't get a loan. My Credit Karma says I'm 580. Problem is all these places use one credit bureau. Well, there are three, and you use the mid
Yeah.
score of the three. Well, what happens if Credit Karma is pulling your bottom score, which they do all the time? You know why? They don't get sued because they're never overestimating your credit. They're always underestimating your credit.
Oh, okay.
So, and so this person came in, told me they were a 563. I pulled their credit. They were 642 mid score. Instant loan, done. Let's go.
Yeah.
So many times they get knocked off line because they were watching these Credit Karmas and there are these other little places, and they all use one score. It's never good for you. You should go to somebody that does the right thing and pulls all three and teaches you what to do with them.
So you got the guys who are renting. I assume buying is definitely better than renting, especially nowadays. Renting is a lot more.
expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive, I think, than a mortgage at this point, right?
Sure.
So come see Steve, and if you think your credit's garbage, it might not be.
Yeah.
Right.
It might not be, and it may not be as people with poorer credit have a tendency not to stand back. They don't want anybody to see it. They don't want to talk
Yeah,
about it.
they're
'Cause
ashamed.
They're embarrassed.
Yeah.
But you know what? So many times I tell people this again all the time. Look at you think you're alone. You are not. I see this every single day. Let's just stop for a minute. Here's what we're going to do. Here's your game plan. Let's fix this thing up, and it's not as hard as you think. So let's just go, and there you go.
Plus, our licenses have rules and regulations
Oh, yeah.
that we basically can't disclose anything that we really talk about
Right.
unless you say we can, and that's it. And it's like a HIPAA for
Oh,
loans
nice.
and real estate.
No, but I will secretly judge you like I do everybody else.
Oh boy.
That's true.
One thing I will say about renting, when you're renting, you're paying more than just a mortgage bill. You're paying, you kind of have to factor in the idea of what, there's ground maintenance that's in there, there's taxes, insurance, that type of stuff. But when you're renting, you're not owning. And that's the biggest gain you have there is when you buy, you have equity that you're paying into the principal every month.
Right.
And you're gaining on value, typically, especially if you upgrade your home or you at least maintain your home.
Right.
It should be appreciating.
And people
in
don't
time.
understand there's equity in both directions. You're paying
Right.
down your costs, and the home's appreciating. So it's the spread is going.
Right, and that's one of the that's the number one reason why not to rent or
That's a
So-
great reason.
rather get a mortgage over renting. But I get there are certain circumstances where people they're better off renting depending on their lifestyle and
Yeah.
their situation. So and I handle both
Yeah.
renting and buying
Let's
and
say
selling.
I was a CEO astronomer, and I'm recently about to get divorced. Would that affect my my credit score and affect the way I was could have to buy a new house and maybe somebody's gonna have my income?
Divorce is always tough, and the thing is with divorce is that you always have a couple that comes in and buys a home with two incomes.
I'm sorry, I just got that.
Did you just get the
CEO
CEO
of
astronomer?
astronomer.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Coldplay hasn't had a single in 10 years. Now they have two. Yeah.
Honest to God. You and the Coldplay. That really stuck with you, didn't it?
Yeah, I love it. It's just media. What do you want me to say? Oh man,
I forget where I was now.
Yeah.
So
Divorce.
Divorce.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
end up if the wife
Well,
watches
and when
this
they
podcast.
break up, they both come to me and want to buy a house.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you're only one income now. And that somehow doesn't occur to them when all this craziness is going on. And that's really difficult.
We've had situations where the realtor doesn't understand that that's now you're working with either the husband or the wife, and they only have one income.
Yeah. Like, hello.
Yeah, they
Especially in these markets. I mean, with these
there's
prices.
sacrifices that have to be made. and,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
That's
everybody
another
has to
thing.
understand that.
People will come to me and they've been through the ringer. Why they didn't come to me first, I don't know. But nobody will.
Been through the ringer with another lender.
Okay, we'll say.
That's fair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Apparently,
Well,
Steve's
we
a
were talking
therapist
divorce.
also.
If they've been
Yes.
through the ringer with their
that too.
spouse,
Yes,
then-
yes.
Well, both things, but with another lender. And they always tell me, oh, geez, they tell me I don't make enough, I can't do this, and no one asks them a simple question: do you have anyone else you can put on this with you? Oh, well, yeah, my dad will do it. Okay, then, let's go.
Well, now, would that obscure their, would they be more apt to be married to a payment at that point? Because if dad co-signs, it doesn't necessarily mean dad's chipping in.
Not
the month,
always, not
so-
always, because we have people that like servers or stuff like that, who have tons of cash, but no. How do you prove the fact
Right.
that you have tips and the company says, well, this month you made $400 in tips when you really made $4,000 in tips. So what happens then?
You're right.
Your income looks awful, but it's really not. And so now we have to ask. And that's when you always get, because dad's not a dummy either. He knows that he's making a ton of money.
Right.
Just that you can't show it.
Yeah.
So they'll jump in. And, so stuff like that.
I believe that's how they brought down Capone.
Yeah.
Tax
Yeah,
evasion.
yeah.
Whoop.
But
So if I was a stripper and I wanted to buy a house,
Wait a minute.
yeah,
Can you say that again?
exotic. If I was
thanks for getting all 4 viewers to imagine you being a stripper.
Now
they're all gone.
If I could make some dollar bills fly, let me tell you, if I could throw some change on a stage, I'd be battered with quarters, all right? But I would take those quarters and I would go to Stevens Lending and I would try to get a mortgage. How would my tips affect the way I got a mortgage?
Oh, God.
And I would be a very good stripper, by the way. Okay? If I wore underwear, it would be amazing.
Glad
all
I'm
right?
not eating
And
right now.
I made sure the camera was on me when I said that.
Oh, God almighty.
But people who do earn tips, does that affect the way they fill out their loan application?
Sure. Tips are difficult.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and there's 50 different ways to handle that because, some places split all tips. So which means everything that comes in is accounted for, and it's easier because you have, it's accounted for in the way they get their W-2s or 1099s or whatever it happens to be. And then there is the other thing where everybody keeps their own.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much cash flying around. It's almost impossible to account for those things. And those are always, you have to go to the tax returns. And, in the old days, we had loans where there were these things that they were mostly made for business owners. You had a business owner that lived in a $500,000 house, had his wife drives a brand new Lexus. He's got a $100,000 pickup truck, never missed a payment, and his tax return said that he made $35,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So, and we used to have, this thing where, you could estimate income. And you could estimate income because you know damn well they were making 10 times what they were reporting.
Yeah.
But again, back in the day, people started taking advantage, and then
That's it.
And then it became, no doc, no income loan for W-2 employees. Well, what do you mean? They, W-2 means they made 50 grand last year, but you can say that he made 100 and have him get a house. Well, why do you think we had that crash? Things got out of
Oh, it
Right.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that was the same with, we'll say, I'm trying to be politically correct here, illegal immigrants or something along those lines, or under the table workers? Is that better? I think under the table, where they claimed, we'll say, 20,000 on their taxes, but they made 100,000 under the table. They're driving this new Bentley, but
there's nothing you can
yeah,
do.
okay,
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. It's
And it's
not in the housing market anyway.
Okay.
It's
All
pretty
right.
much. Yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, right now, for example, in Rhode Island, out of all our states, Rhode Island, the loan amounts are the highest of any state we deal with. That includes Massachusetts.
Wow.
Yep. And I
that's
would
because
say
it's not a real state.
75%.
Big town.
75% of our buyers are immigrant buyers. Only because they're not. I don't know how to put this. They're not afraid. They came here to work. They work.
Yeah.
And they came here to buy a house, and they buy a house, and they don't give a damn what the price is.
Yeah.
The market, to them, market's what it is.
Yep.
They don't know any different. The market's what the market, and they have money.
That's
They
it.
have-
Whatever they have to pay, they'll work for
Yeah.
the
Well,
money
the
and
thing
they'll
of
pay
it
it.
is, I have a couple of. I have a Haitian community in Norwich. I do a lot of business with,
Yeah,
and I can tell
that
you,
is a big community.
80% of those people are working 2 40-hour jobs. So they're putting in 80 hours a week plus overtime on both jobs.
Right.
So they may not be making $75 an hour, but so what? They're
Yeah,
making
correct.
2 jobs, or they're making $3,000 a month, so they're making $6,000 a month, and there's 2 of them, so
Yep.
they're making $12,000 a month because they're working 4 jobs plus overtime.
Sounds like a local EMS worker. That's what that sounds like.
Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely.
I will say, like, I remember being young and thinking all I want to do is own a piece of ground. It's that mentality. I
Yeah.
just want to own more dirt than that's sticking to my shoes.
That'll be your grave. That's what I'm going for. that'll be my 6 feet I put under right there. Absolutely.
But yeah, no, the mentality is different amongst different cultures.
Oh,
for
It
sure.
is, yeah, absolutely,
Without a doubt.
yeah,
And you have to be sensitive to that.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So you've worked with Laotian, you've worked with Vietnamese, you've worked with
Everybody.
American, you've worked with Hispanic. What was your favorite? What was your favorite?
You don't have to
you
answer
enjoyed
that.
you enjoyed the Laotian because of the banker. That was a very interesting
All of
way. Yeah,
I,
way to handle
I
money.
just like when
What was
I-
the easiest to work with?
oh, there's no such thing.
No,
No, no.
not American. I can tell
No,
you.
no,
that.
no. Everybody that has a dollar wants to be sure that
Yeah.
they're spending it on something that's worthwhile. I don't
Right.
care who you are.
Okay.
Right. And that's the way you attack it anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I've definitely seen frivolous people, trying to buy, but you still try to talk to them about,
Yeah.
like, hey, this is going to cost money down the line. Or, this boiler's pretty old.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at it that each and every deal or loan or mortgage or whatever is a puzzle and an interesting puzzle. You have so many moving pieces, and sometimes my favorite thing is when I get a buyer in and they're on the edge, and these days you can't really put somebody into a house that they can't afford because the debt ratios just don't allow you to do that.
Right.
Back in the day, there were people.
Yeah, they didn't care.
They didn't care at all.
Yeah, they didn't.
And
They didn't. Yeah.
so now that doesn't happen.
That's good. That's not a bad thing, right?
Right.
No, that's
No. So what? Yeah, it's a great thing. So,
Yeah.
so what happens now is you sit there and there are these things. There's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and there's DU, which is desktop underwriter, which is kind of a it's a computerized underwriting system. You have LP, loan prospector, and that's for Freddie Mac. And you can run each loan through each one, and you try to get it approved eligible, and it comes back approved ineligible. Well, why? Okay. Well, there's this and this and this is wrong. Okay, let's try something else. We'll lower rate, raise this, do that, move that, and it to me, I sit there for hours sometimes, and I have this thing where I get this notion that it can be done, and when I get that, it can be done. I just have to find it, and to me, that is the most enjoyable thing that I do.
Nice.
I just love
The puzzle.
fixing
puzzle.
the
I
puzzle.
like that. I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Problem
Do,
solving.
do you
Yeah.
find AI is going to have a big impact in what you do?
Oh, good question.
Yeah,
That's all I have.
Well, AI already is, and for example, there's thousands and thousands of guidelines for all the different products. I don't care who you are. No one's going to know them all, and the gift. And I always told everybody that the gift is being able to tell someone that I'll find it for you. People don't care if you don't know. Just don't sit there and say,
Yeah.
what you want to
Or
do
pretend to
is just say,
know.
look, I'm not sure on that, but I'll find out for you, and I'll find out for you now, or I'll have it for you by the morning. Well, now, a lot of these, like UWM, for example, they have an AI already up and running. And almost any question I ask it, it knows.
What is UWM? You've referenced them
Whol-
a few times.
UWM is United Wholesale Mortgage.
Are they a big company? What is that?
Okay, United Wholesale
Yeah.
Mortgage is a company in Pontiac, Michigan.
Okay, they're the ones who gave you the award, correct?
Yes, and I would say 10 years ago, they, when they've been in business for a while, but it was originally the company was run by the father, and the father and every single person in the family is an attorney. But it was, they probably had 100
Sound like a bunch of
employees.
jerks.
Well, they had probably 100 employees, something like that, when they first started out. And they may have been doing 10 to 20 loans a week. Well, the son took over, and he used to play basketball for the University of Michigan, at Michigan State. He was a point guard. His name's Matt Ishbia.
Yeah.
Well, that company went from that couple hundred employees 10 years ago, since he's been stewarding this thing through, they now have 9,600 employees
Wow.
and have 2 campuses that you have to walk across a bridge to these 2 different places. And he's got like 3,000 IT employees, and they do between 5,000 and 6,000 loans a month.
That's
I've been
a week.
there.
A week.
I've been there for
Really?
training and a tour.
No
and
kidding.
It's unbelievable.
Where
You
is
look- Michigan.
It is in Michigan.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you look through some like so he bought the old Pontiac building,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought
One across the street.
one across the
Which
street.
he
I can't
built a bridge between the
Yeah,
two.
it's just
Right,
like bought the GM
But
buildings.
it's like
yeah.
it's like looking at the ocean, but it's desks and people.
No kidding.
It's unbelievable how far it goes with
No kidding.
processors, underwriters,
Everything.
IT, everything. And there's a whole city there. I mean, you can get your car worked on, you can get hair done. There's a gym.
kidding.
There's a couple of gyms actually.
Basketball
There's-
courts.
Yeah, there's all kinds
yeah,
of
makes
stuff.
sense.
There's restaurants, and it's
Wow.
wild. It's like
What if you don't learn something from that?
right. He treats his employees unbelievably. They have actually a pretty low turnover for such a large company.
fantastic.
So it's
Plus, he
pretty
bought the
incredible.
Phoenix Suns, so
Yeah. Well, he owns Phoenix Suns and Fever. Phoenix Fever.
Oh no,
Indiana
kidding.
Fever. Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah,
Indiana
yeah,
Fever.
the WNBA team.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Caitlin Clark.
Pay them what they're worth. I get it.
Wow, they don't want to do that because no,
We're not going there today. Different podcast.
no,
Different
each
podcast.
WNBA team loses about $3 million a year, so they don't want to ask that question.
That's right up there with politics. Hold
Caitlin
on.
Clark is now selling out stadiums that they
Yeah.
had never
That's
sold out
Nope.
before.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Her, Paige Becker, all those people.
Agreed.
I mean, it's great basketball.
Oh,
I think.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think the Sun is doing a fantastic job down in Mohegan, and but I agree as far as comparing the WNBA up to the NBA is you still got a little bit of a stretch to go there, but personal
Well, I
opinion,
mean, you
not the
think
opinion of
about-
the community
so-
workbench.
So, well, I was very good friends with one of Gino Oriema's friends, and they used to play golf back in the 80s, late 80s. And Gino would tell my buddy Frank, we're going to be selling out Gamble, and then we're going to be going to Harvard Civic Center. We're going to sell out that. And he was laughing at Gino for
Yeah.
that idea that the women's basketball, UConn women, is going to do that. And then
Bingo.
bingo,
Gino's done a
35 and 0.
fun-
And
yeah.
it just,
Now
it-
he's done a phenomenal job with
yeah, it's
college
incredible.
basketball, but
Yeah.
after college, it's it's definitely gone to the wayside until Caitlin Clark's definitely put him on the map, WNBA on the map. But
Yeah.
the drama around that, we talk
Which
about
I think is
publicity
kind
and-
of like the way they're doing it
Yeah.
to pump
Oh,
up
I
the
agree.
views.
No such thing as bad publicity, right?
Well, it's
Yeah.
everybody loves a train wreck.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, Stevens
that?
Lending shot somebody. There was a shooting at Stevens Lending 2 weeks ago. No such thing as bad publicity.
You watch tomorrow. I'm going to get a thing. Is everyone all right?
Yeah. Steven beat up somebody. Don't worry, they just. It's
I'm
okay.
100 years
Yeah.
old. That's long gone.
But speaking of sports, Steve has definitely been involved in the sporting community for quite some time. And actually, in all honesty, when we went for the mortgage, he gave me more coaching tips than he did mortgage tips. In all honesty, I got a crappy mortgage, but some great coaching tips. I'm pretty sure I won the championship that year because of
go.
him. The house is crap, but I got a great little championship trophy, much like his little teardrop over
you
here.
go.
It's a flame.
Shot up as the flame. Wait
till the book comes out,
Wonderful. Yes, but
I was gonna call you out on the book. Now you're out. Now you've gone public with the book.
Let's talk about your coaching career and how that might have helped you dealing with stupid people. And there are so many stupid people. God, I hate people.
I coach a little different than I do this. Believe me.
And let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about that. And there's a book apparently, which you can find, I think, on Pornhub. I'm not really sure where you can find the book. I haven't read the book. I'm not entirely sure.
It's nowhere yet.
Okay.
Believe me.
All right, let's be serious for a minute here.
Long-time
Yes.
reader, first-time writer. I'm not entirely sure. There are pictures.
You don't read.
You can look at the pictures. Hit us with that, Steve, please, if you don't mind.
Well, as far as coaching, I coach almost at every level. And the little league level, honestly, I enjoyed almost better than any of the others, only because you can shape a kid at that level if you do it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have, I played a lot of baseball. My family is all baseball players. My youngest son played in college.
Awesome. What college?
He played at Wentworth in Boston.
Awesome.
And I played a little bit in college, and I played on the Cape.
Was it after college you played on the Cape?
During
Okay.
during the summers.
Like
Very
fever pitch, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't,
Did you meet Freddie Prinze Jr.?
No. But it wasn't what you think. See, back then, like
The old
for
leather
example,
gloves.
in the Cape League, you have to wait for the guys to come get out of school, or if they make the playoffs, they're out there. And what myself and a good friend of mine used to do is at the beginning of the Cape League, maybe 2 weeks before they started, we would drive out to the Cape and said, hey, you need any temporary ball players? And I said, what do you mean? I said, well, I know you got 5-6 guys that are coming, but you got nobody for the next 3 weeks. You need somebody to fill in. We go from team to team, and we hooked up every summer for a couple of years. And it's not like we were great ball players.
Yeah.
We just, we were
Had to play.
You had Vim.
we had a little, vim and vigor, and we actually hooked up with a couple of teams, and the first couple of years it was just for a little bit, and for a couple of weeks, and then
Nice.
off you go, and then in the last time we tried that is they let us stay on for the summer because they knew
Nice.
who we were. We played some. We didn't play a ton.
How'd you do?
How did I do?
Yeah, how'd you do?
Let's put it this way. I got.
What was your credit score?
You got on base.
Yeah,
Did you get on base?
I was a defense. I played shortstop.
Yeah. Oh,
in
you're
high
shortstop.
school, but I
Oh.
played second base there
Yep.
because you had to have a cannon arm.
Yep.
But to me in the Cape League was the first time I saw a 90-plus fastball
Yeah,
that
it's tough.
that I could not hit.
No kidding.
So I realized real quick that that's the end of this.
Yeah, maybe it's not for me.
That thing went by me, and it's like
Okay.
I give up.
Yeah. All right.
We're gonna join a beer league.
Yeah. Maybe
Exactly.
slow pitch softball isn't so bad.
Yeah. But again, I mean, the coaching of kids
Yeah.
is a whole different thing, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy.
Where did you coach?
Well, I coached Killingly for
Oh, very nice.
probably 14 15 years. Then I coached
I'm
in
wearing my
Pomfret.
Killingly shirt. Just saying. Yeah. All right. Very good.
Yeah, I coached in Pomfret for another 10.
Nah, we won't talk about Pomfret. How did Killingly go?
Killingly was good.
Yeah.
We very rarely lost more than a couple of games a
That's
year.
right.
Same thing in Pomfret.
We don't
Now-
talk about Pomfret.
Well, as like even so, I was an assistant coach for a couple of years at Brooklyn Little League, and going into your office, you gave me a couple of tips that were incredible, like the idea of asking the whole team who's afraid of the ball. And to deal with that, you get a couple hands raised, and then you say, "Okay, everyone else is a liar."
Yeah.
Stand them up and throw balls at them. That's
then-
what Steve told me. You just keep throwing balls at
Yeah,
them.
no,
Yeah.
every kid has a fear of the ball.
Absolutely.
Even the very best kids.
Yeah.
They all do.
Especially
them
me at
comfortable.
42.
And they don't, and until you bring that to light, every kid on the team thinks that the other kids are cool because they just get right up there and swing, and you're the only one afraid of the ball. Well, no. Major leaguers, you think a major leaguer is not afraid to get hit by a 102-mile-an-hour
absolutely.
fastball?
Yeah,
You bet your
yeah.
life they are.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to get hit by a 102-mile-an-hour
Sure.
fastball.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You just have to let them know that they're the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
And then playing catch without the glove, they always use two hands.
Yep.
That was like a biggest thing. I'm like, that's incredible. Like go play catch without the glove for a little bit, and then they learn to
Yep,
use
thumb to
that
thumb, you
that
got it.
second hand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, plus, we used to
Fantastic.
bring them at the beginning of every season. I would bring all the kids into the gym, whether the outside was good weather or not, and I would do that, and I would tell them, make sure all your parents are here,
Yeah.
because the simplest thing that you can do is go into a gym with the knowledge that you have about baseball, and make sure that the parents never bother you again for the rest of the year. And it was easy, because they're all sitting around, and the first thing you do is, how many people here know how to catch a ball? And they all raise their hand. I said, okay, we'll see about that. And then, same thing about hitting. And what happens is you show these kids well, the question always was, do you always take a good level swing when you're attacking a baseball? Yes. Good. You'll never hit anywhere past little league level. You know, they didn't understand, and so what you would find is the dads in particular would start edging their way over, and pretty soon they're standing around and they're listening to you because all the things they thought they were teaching the kids right were all wrong.
Everything they learned when they were young.
Right. So what happens is they never bother you again for the rest of the year because they're too damn embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easy. And you're not trying to do that. What you're trying to do is make them understand that you know what you're talking about and why.
Right.
That's
You've
the
done
thing.
this. Exactly. You know, YouTube coaches. There's nothing wrong with YouTube coaches because at least you're trying to learn and teach these kids new, right? You're not teaching them Babe Ruth, you know, back in the 1930s, 20s, 40s.
I wasn't a baseball
then.
player growing up. It's just my son was a baseball player, so I pitched in. That's the other thing about volunteering, because we always talk about like volunteering local and that kind of thing. You don't need a background. You just like honestly, most of the time when we're looking for volunteers, we're looking for bodies.
Yeah.
Anyone with a pulse,
Right.
and you see a lot of these parents will shy away from that. But man, does it make a big difference when you have different programs going on around the field, whether it be baseball or soccer, where you're catching here, you're practicing your swing here, you're hitting balls over here, and then just having that parent supervisor on those type of things just helps a lot.
I can't tell parents enough that this stuff about the kid's going to be he's going to be a major league ball player and he's got to go to this camp. He's got to go to that camp.
They're all major league ball players.
And this and that, and and it's like no. If you want the kid to be a major league ball player, let him play soccer, let him play basketball, let him play baseball. All these sports have different muscle memory. You're developing all kinds of this stuff about sticking on a routine because my kid's going to be a pro.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Jordan didn't even play basketball until high school.
Right. And
He played baseball as a kid.
I don't know. There was that old rumor that Jordan was cut from his freshman team. I don't know if
Sophomore
that's
team.
true.
Sophomore.
He was.
Was that confirmed out of the?
Yeah,
I heard
100%
that.
was,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Easy. Sorry. All right. Sorry, Jordan fans. I didn't mean nothing by it. All
I'm
right.
not a
Easy.
big Jordan fan, but
All right. Pay them what they're worth. I don't know. Stop yelling at me. But so along with baseball, did you coach soccer? I mean, I know it's not a sport.
I
But
coached soccer a little bit. I was
too?
horrible at that.
Yeah, it's
I
'cause
coached
it's not real.
baseball. I coached baseball and basketball. I coached
All right.
basketball for a long time.
Were you any good at basketball?
Was I?
Yeah.
I was okay.
All right.
I could shoot the daylights out of it.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys.
Were you a
aggravating
Larry
person.
Bird?
No, I wasn't.
I
I,
mean that
was
'cause
too
he's
damn
white.
He
skinny.
kind of
Yeah.
looks like a Larry Bird.
Yeah. Is that because he's white? Is he Irish?
Actually, I am.
Is that why we're saying that? All right. No, you were all right at basketball. You were okay.
I could shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, I could shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I was never gonna go. I was.
No, you did it for fun.
I was 6 feet tall, which is a midget these days. So.
That's fair. That is fair, actually. What about the kids? The kids play?
Oh yeah.
So your son played baseball, you said?
All of them. Yeah.
Okay. How many kids do you have? You're a family man, I know.
Quite a
it.
few. Well,
Yeah.
we have a blended family. We have 8.
Oh, very good.
And they all played ball. They all played sports. I want to, just get out there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to, I am one of these people that every single kid that comes down to my thing has something to offer.
Okay.
If you're not a good coach, you'll never know what it was. You got to find that out right away.
Yep.
Some kids can run like hell. You get them in those situations. You bunt or you.
I was gonna say we call them bunters. Absolutely.
Well, no,
yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
only that. I mean, you get them in to run. You do all these different things. You teach them how to play all different positions, and you find out. And one practice I used to always have is that probably halfway through the season I would sit down one night with every kid's stats, and I'd find out stuff like their on-base percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And every
Like
year,
Moneyball,
every year there was one or two kids. This is long before Moneyball, and there were one or two kids you look at and go, "What the hell? This kid's on base all the time."
Yep.
And you just never noticed because he's he's goofing around. He's not Johnny Ball player. He's just one of the average guys. And when I first went to Pomfret, I went there and they had this thing. It was the most intricate draft I have ever seen. You know, every kid had a percentage, and it's my first year there, and I was one of the 3 coaches, and they're going on for hours, and they said, okay, we're ready to draft, and I looked at them and I said, look, I don't know any of these kids at all. You guys pick whoever you want. Give me whoever's left.
Nice. Nice. No,
And they looked at me like I was
That's
nuts.
a good coach.
You know
right?
what my
I can
record was
coach
that
everybody.
first year? 15-1.
Yeah, that's a good coach. I think you
Nice.
beat me, so.
And it wasn't that. It's just that, fundamentals.
Yeah,
all
that's
the
it.
kids,
Yep,
it's but anyway, enough of that.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely, yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit more about this book. And
Yeah, I'm curious. What is this book?
so how far along are you with the book?
Probably
Because
3/4 of the way through.
well, so all I'm saying is we've had authors on the podcast, and I'd love to give you their information because they're they're like us. They love helping out,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely we have multiples that were they self-published, which I'm gonna urge you to go in that direction.
Yeah. Well,
And like I said, I'm still dying to read it.
there's a whole chapter on how to handle parents.
Oh, geez.
which
There
is
is.
which
Well,
is
I will read it.
something. Yeah, every coach,
Yep.
especially every volunteer coach,
Right.
is dreaming about.
Yeah, half the chapters
sort of
hit
guide.
them. Hit
Yeah.
them all.
It's tough.
So yeah, we can talk after. I got Ali Mack was on here, Justin Margadana.
Okay.
They've all self-published multiple times.
Well, I'm curious. What's the premise of this book? What is?
It's
give me-
baseball
Give me a
fundamentals for
synopsis. Oh, it's a
kids.
baseball book.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
baseball
very good.
fundamentals for
Okay.
kids. Yeah, it's
But it's coaching. It's
yeah,
like
it's
for a
yeah.
coach's
It's-
read.
It's a
Yeah.
coach's read.
Okay.
How to teach kids every aspect of the game.
Okay.
And it's running, teaching them the rules. Why you
Awesome.
teach the rules.
Awesome.
Why everybody's afraid of the ball, like
Yeah.
all those
Little-
tips.
little
like
things.
that,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
that was
baseball is
huge.
90% it's 90% mental, right? That's what we say. 10% physical, 90%
One
mental.
simple
So soccer, but whatever.
And soccer's not a real sport, though.
No, I'm
It's
sorry.
stupid. Soccer's stupid.
It's only the
Watch 'em
most
run.
played
We don't talk
sport in
about
the
it.
world. But all right.
Oh gosh.
like when you catch a baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I used to make the kids run a couple laps at the end of every practice, and I make them yell back to me. How do you catch a baseball? And it was 3 things. It was shift, transfer, and throw. There was never any word catch in there
Ah.
because you're not there to catch and stop the thing. You're there to get rid of it. So what I would teach them at the beginning of the thing, I would have the kid who thinks he was the best ball player in the team, and I would have him throw the ball the hardest you want to me. I don't care if I don't throw it as hard as you want. And I would catch it on the back of the glove and throw it back to him. And so it would just bounce off the back of the glove, and I throw it back to them. They're all looking at me like, wow,
You didn't catch the ball.
that's not hard. It's just, how did all of the old-time baseball players with these little
Yeah,
fat
correct.
mitts,
Those
how did
little
they do
leather-
it?
yeah,
They
those
were
little
just
leather
stopping
gloves,
the ball. They
yeah.
weren't catching it.
Right.
And that's why you look at the old tapes, and these guys could turn double plays like there was nobody's business because they had these big elephant gloves on their hand. They just stop and boom, the thing's gone. And that's
I'm not
what
gonna lie.
would teach my
I
kids.
kind of feel attacked right now. I got this big 13-inch glove, and I feel attacked.
But anyway,
Yeah, that's good to know. I like that. So, so you're working on it. It's
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna, like most books, I'll wait for the movie. Okay, directed by James Gunn, and
I love it. I love the we get you on here, we get a full round of who you are, and I'm glad we got into all this. It's really cool. Thank you, Steve, for being so
thank you. We
frank
appreciate
with
it.
us and give us those inner workings of the loan world and whatnot. So I appreciate that.
Anytime,
yeah,
gentlemen.
absolutely. Because I went through it, but I didn't understand it.
And as soon
know?
as that book comes out, we're gonna have you back on talk about the book.
Well,
I
Or
hope to
I'll
be
read
a
it
best.
first, and then we'll have you on.
I'd like to be I won't read it. I will again wait for the movie to come out, but I hope to be maybe a guest co-host again. Because I do enjoy the baseball. I'm gonna read it and be like, "That's
Well,
soccer." Wait a second.
we might be canceled after having you on.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I have a good attorney. Steve did recommend one, so he's decent.
Shout out to Paul Smith. He's
There it is. My guy.
great guy. Thank you again, Steve, and
thanks,
thank you, Will, for your candid.
No. My name
hosting.
is Kyle Morrissey, 2 R's, 2 S's. Get it right in the affidavit, please.
Oh,
I am a Capricorn. I live in Pomfret.
We don't tell people that. Anyway, thanks everyone else for watching. The CWP family is kicking off. We need a slide.
Oh, let me hit the button. I learned to do this. Boom.
There we go.
Is that the one?
I believe it.
I will be the one.
Be the One campaign. It was started by the American Legion in efforts to stop veteran suicide.
Very
If-
important.
If you know a veteran, call them. Be the one to check in on them. For any more details you might need, visit betheone.org. And I will also extend that to all first responders like Will Jeffs. Thank you very
Please.
much
Absolutely.
for doing what you do. Join us again Monday night at 6, July 28th, when we interview Dan Bennett, owner of DBC Solutions LLC. I believe he is a home builder. Very
Another
excited to
individual
talk to
I've
him.
had a personal experience with.
Yep.
Steve did not recommend this one, but I have had a pleasant experience
Good.
with also. Maybe I can be a guest co-host. You know, Matt's gonna have to check his calendar. I don't know.
Offline, you can't put
Yes.
this podcast down enough, and now you keep lobbying to
Oh,
be
you know,
the
well, maybe-
co-host
maybe you
forever.
can raise views from 4 to 5. I don't know.
We'll see how many lawsuits get started tonight. As always, buy local, hire local, dine local, volunteer local, donate local, get your loans locally at Stevens Lending. Have great days, everyone.
Fade to black.